Yes, approach runway 26 left. 4 vector to the paddock port and induce landing runways. Runway 26 left for large aircraft. And runway 26 right for light aircraft.
Another Thursday, another podcast.
Hey. How's it going, pal?
Good and you?
How's your week been?
My week, I've had better weeks.
What's up?
Jeez, I had my second jab, and man, did it knock me out.
I can believe it. I had the J&J a couple of weeks back, and man, what they don't tell you in the fine print is that, be prepared for a rough 24 hours.
Yeah, it definitely knocked me out. Not for long, but look, lucky I'm so tough, eh?
Well, at least it's done now, and
Yep, I got to go to, we'll chat actually about it a bit later, because I thought maybe this is a good week to go into the travel tourism side of things. There hasn't been an awful lot of airline news.
No.
Little bits here and there, bit of local stuff, but maybe a good time to dive into the travel and tourism.
Yeah. It's springtime now in South Africa, so it's starting to warm up, and I don't know, just makes for a better atmosphere as well. So I'm quite happy about that and looking forward to warmer weather.
There is a nice vibe at the moment. Hey?
I think so.
Are you picking that up?
I think so, yeah.
Speaking of spring, Comair have a spring special. So the spring sale has begun. Longer days and rising temperatures warming our South African hearts. It's time to plan that long, lazy holiday. And what better way to make this a reality than on Kalula.com and British Airways, operated by Comair. Starting midnight last night, ending on the 2nd of September at midnight. So if you want to book yourself a holiday and thinking of taking a flight, then up to 30% off on all flights. So I like these specials. It's worth it.
Hey, definitely, man. And it's good to see the Kalula, Comair guys getting back into the skies. Lots of social media posts. All the guys happy to be back in uniform and, obviously feeling proud to be back at work. So,
it's great news, man.
Yeah.
We need those green machines back.
Definitely.
There was a post yesterday about some possible chaos with SAA. We don't know if it's true. Not going to dive into it too much. Basically, though, the reality at the moment is they cleared to operate, but they're going to restart with that 500 million or less. So I'm pretty sure they're going to burn through that quite fast because obviously the equity money's not in there yet. If it ever will be, we don't know. But so that's news on the SAA side. Not an awful lot, and we'll have to wait and see for that. Positive stuff for the Mango pilots. After 3 months of no ZAR, they got a month's salary.
Shame, man. Yeah, what a relief for them. And it's at least something's happening. It seems to be a bit of a positive step that side as well. I saw an article earlier where government are hoping that the subsidiaries will pull through this. So good news for the Mango guys, and let's stay positive that it will continue to get better.
I think it will. Maybe first step towards. And there's even talk of operating in October, which is quite soon, I thought.
So, So they only got paid 1 month's salary, or did they get back paid?
No, I think there's a lot of back pay. Because remember, they were on a reduced salary for a long time. There's talk of like 8 months worth of salaries that are owing. So I doubt they got paid more than a month. So, That's what I've heard. I think, Jordan Butler and his Mango Pilots Association team there that they obviously are using did really well. They put a lot of pressure on, certainly in the media. And I see a lot of Mango employees quite grateful to Jordan on Facebook, sending him the odd message there. And I think they all appreciate what he managed to do and the Mango Pilots Association managed to do.
Yeah, no, he put up a good fight for the guys. And, I think between them and the SAA crew, they all eventually sort of got what was owed to them and what they wanted.
Yeah.
Would have been nice if some of that love got shared to the SA Express crew and staff as well, but
it would have.
That
But
ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna happen. In fairness, I think SAA, Grant back in the union were and Jordan and Manga Pilots Association union, they were stronger in the media than SACS was.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, look, there were a lot of...
We were first, so you weren't quite sure what to say, and it was right at the beginning of this meltdown. So, there was it wasn't exactly sure footing on our behalf there, but it makes you feel for the SACS guys even more though, because so much has been said about SAA getting paid, and now Mango at least getting a month's salary. It's been how many months?
Yeah, just over 18
months
for all the SA Express crew.
No pay at all.
Nothing.
And no lights at the end of the tunnel. And it's really the forgotten SOE, and by far the worst treated SOE.
Shame, and then to add insult to injury as well, there was those videos doing the rounds last week of November Mike Charlie getting chewed up by, what do they call those machines? But look, that airplane was destined for the scrap heap many, many years ago anyway. Yeah. But it brought up a lot of emotions for all the guys. And
shout out to Mike Mason actually on that one.
Yeah.
Because Mike's a big supporter of ours, and he actually posted a video on that particular video on LinkedIn. I never saw it. And he phoned me the other day, or I phoned him, and he was a bit pissed off with me. So I said, sorry Mike, I didn't see that post. But anyway, shout out to Mike.
Yeah.
That did bring out a lot of emotions, and rightly so. I mean, like you said, that aircraft was destined for the scrap heap. It had, I don't know how many kilos of bird shit on the top of that airplane.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I mean, it was in a horrendous state, and I can categorically say if I was ever told to go and fly that thing back when I was working there, I would have said no, thank you.
No, absolutely. I mean, I often used to think, because for some other reason, my number was on the hit list whenever there was test flights.
Oh yeah, I avoided those like the plague.
Oh man, I got baited for a lot of those, and I always looked at November Mike Charlie, and I still thought, man, if ever I get the call for that test flight,
give that a skip. But it did bring up a lot of emotions, and sure, that's terrible, man.
Yeah.
Something else, though, an important thing this week: Progress Flight Academy turned 40 years old yesterday.
Unbelievable. Happy
It's
birthday,
amazing.
Progress. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Progress. I trained there. And what a fantastic academy.
Yeah.
John English is one of these old school instructors that doesn't only instruct you in an aviation sense. He provides sort of life lessons along the way. I remember one day he told me I had some sort of CFI check flight there with him, and I don't think I was cleanly shaven that day. And he said, no, go back and shave, then you can come back and I was a bit of a rebel back then.
So you got one of those your ego's writing checks, your body can't cash speeches.
I got one of those resets,
Yeah, I think you're the type of oak that would have needed that when he was alive.
Yeah, but he was like that to everyone, and he was consistent, and he a wonderful place to go and fly. When I wanted to go and learn how to fly, the obvious choice is always to go to 43, which is a fantastic school. My dad liked the idea of like the academy sort of vibe, and in Port Elizabeth there, which is what it was called. They had this, right in the middle of like he went on a dirt road. It was sort of hidden away, grass strip, real old school environment. All the aviators, they lived together, and it was just a nice setup. You lived aviation. You all ate there together in the canteen. You did your ground school there. You flew in the afternoon. The sims were there. And it just had a awesome setup. And they were operating. When I was there, 2002, 2003. I mean, brand new Piper Warriors. And I suppose the competition at that time was flying old school Cherokee 140s.
Yeah.
And so Progress, they led the way for a long time, and so many good pilots have made their way through that academy.
Yeah.
So shout out to a few of the people I can just think of off the top of my head now. I mean, we bump into quite a few of the guys here at Samara, but Melville Fenter, Guy van der Poel, Liam Durham, Paula Johnson, Alex Migui, Gary Fowle. Lots of guys. Nathan Varner.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, there was a cool group of guys and girls
Yeah.
there, and I had very, very fond memories of that place.
That's awesome, man. I mean, a lot of those names you just listed in I've met throughout my career as well, and it's just so cool. Actually, also just goes to show how small aviation is. I mean,
It is.
on that topic, my dad was in charge of a flight academy in Nelspruit for a couple of years, and he tried to go for a similar vibe. And all the guys I trained through them back in the day as well still are in touch with us today. And it's that kind of community and closeness in aviation that will last throughout your entire career. There's a lot to be said for that, man.
There's a wonderful, wonderful place. There's CFI. I follow him on LinkedIn. Ross Gradage wrote a nice tribute there. He said, I gained so much more than just a license. Lifelong memories, mentors, and a hell of a lot of fun memories, to name a few. Today I feel privileged to be part of a fantastic organization going strong for 40 years. Well done to the Englishes. And thank you for putting your heart and soul into building Progress Flight Academy so that we may all achieve our dream to fly. So I certainly share those same sentiments, Ross, and to everyone there. Angela, English's daughter as well, I think played a big part in building it up to what it is today. So Progress Flight Academy, if you want to go learn how to fly anywhere, that would always and has always been my recommendation to anyone that has asked me for advice on where to start.
Very cool, man.
Very cool. I want to go back there, actually. Go visit everyone. Would be nice. Right. Let's we get to some international headlines this week. The US military now has left Afghanistan after 20 years.
Yeah.
The last flight went out the other night, Boeing C-17. And that was, 30th of August.
Did you see what the picture on Flight Radar looked like with that exodus of C-17s leaving?
Unbelievable.
It was unreal. I mean, it must have been quite a
scene
to see.
Yeah, so the FAA has now issued a NOTAM declaring the Kabul International Airport uncontrolled. So if you are planning to fly in there over the weekend, just remember to cancel search and rescue.
Yeah, on that topic, I just saw a joke now as well where the guy says, negative goat rider, the button is full. There's a picture of the guy sitting in Kabul's control tower. So
that's quite a good
quite
one.
Funny.
Yeah, moving across to the new Italian operator, RTA. It's quite an interesting one, because this operator, they basically are they've bought assets from Alitalia. Alitalia is not selling tickets at the moment, so there's a bit of issues going on there with people that have purchased and that. But they basically, it's basically all about the brand. So they don't want to throw the Alitalia brand away. So these guys are actually buying the brand, and it's going to be an airline that the Italians can be proud of. So they're starting from scratch, clean sheet of paper, but they're trying to keep the good stuff that existed in the previous airline and bring it across, but starting with a new financial sheet. Good idea, hey?
Yeah, it's
unheard of that, eh?
Yeah, who else is doing that?
Yeah,
I mean, nobody.
No one.
Yeah, a bit of deja vu, not so.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I thought it was a good idea. Good news for the 73 MAX in India. SpiceJet will be operating its fleet of MAXs from September, after the CIA indicated that they will unground the aircraft. It's about time that I think the authorities got on board with this and ungrounded that MAX, don't you think?
Yeah, man. Just, I think the guys have gone, or Boeing has certainly done what they needed to do to prove that the airplane is safe. Lots of airlines around the world are already operating them rather, and it seems to be doing well. So
something that's becoming all too common concern are these data breaches. Have you seen this with Bangkok Airways? So they're investigating a data breach that's compromised passengers' personal information. Now, airlines are a big threat for this because if you think about when you buy a ticket, you could have credit card information there, IDs, passports, visas, everything. So airlines are a major, the threat is rather large, and there's nothing you can do. They're gonna give the data back once this ransom is paid, and from what I've read, the plan is to pay the ransom and be on with it. But
you just can't win. I mean, the airlines are trying to put all of these systems and bring technology into place because it makes touchless contact technology, for COVID reasons, a whole lot better, et cetera, et cetera. So you're trying to fight a fight on one hand, and you're losing another battle on the other side. I just wish this world would
normalize.
It seems to be in a lot of aspects. It doesn't matter which way you turn, you're gonna run into some sort of trouble, whether it's with a pandemic or someone trying to steal your bucks.
But you have to take this your data seriously. It was a Brown advisory about 4 months ago to say get yourself a VPN for home use, and one of the bits of advice I said there was you can actually use it you can Jippo your Netflix to get a US account if you want. Don't do that because Netflix have figured that out now. Okay. So they're actually blocking accounts if they figure you might do that. So don't do that. But a VPN for home these days is an absolute must, and they're not expensive. ExpressVPN probably the best, I think.
Yeah.
Be careful. China's largest 3 carriers, Air China, China Eastern, and China Southern, they continued their loss-making streak for a second year, but the losses have reduced a bit. The revenues are up, and there's obviously quite a strong domestic recovery in China. But interestingly enough, still the big 3 still making a loss. China Eastern expects to take delivery of the world's first COMAC narrow-body in the second half of the year. That's sooner than I thought, actually.
Yeah, that's rolled around quite quick. I wonder how well that area is going to do.
Well, it's full of Western technology. Engines, Honeywell's involved. It's made there, but it's political. Look, I mean, they will replace that. They using the COMAC to replace the 737 MAX from their delivery forecast. So it'll be interesting to see.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Interesting story. Are you keeping track of CRJ news based on your prestigious CRJ history?
No, I actually haven't.
There was a runway excursion the other day.
Where?
In the Xinjiang province of China. CRJ 900. 4 passengers were injured while they were evacuating the aircraft. The runway was shut for up to 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened?
There was a wet runway and a little bit of wind shear, I think. Sounds like it probably should have been a go around. Pilots are probably back home.
That's what happens when you scratch the paint there.
In New Zealand, they are planning to reduce its fleet to just 2 types. So they're looking at just the 787s and the A320s. This is a common thing that I think we're going to see across the board. The 787 size is quite usable. I mean, it's used domestically in certain parts of the world. It's got the range if you're doing long haul, and then the 320s as well. The 320s can fly relatively long haul as well. So they're very adaptable, and interesting that the 2 types are split between the 2 different companies. You would think maybe, I know the 350 is bigger than the 78, but 350s and 320s or something, might be. But I suppose they got their reasons for sticking with Boeing on the 78.
think it makes sense. I've always questioned, why do airlines have mixed fleet options like Lufthansa? They've got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's got a lot to do with if, for instance, they pick up a problem with the 787s
Yeah.
and they all get grounded worldwide, that
Yeah.
could be your whole airline.
Yeah.
Um,
I suppose on the Airbus, so much is shared.
yes.
So if there's an issue with seeing it now with the 777 and the Max, the delayed rollout there, obviously some of the similar issues. But Spuries are doing the same thing, 320s and 340s. So they're forward thinking there.
Yeah. And, they're going with the older technology, which is more efficient.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost that much to run.
Keep it tidy.
Oh, sorry. Am I going down that
You're
rabbit
going
hole
down the
again?
rabbit hole.
Sorry, man.
Staying with the 777s, remember, I actually forgot about it, that uncontained engine failure the other day.
Yes.
That was about
Well, there were
4 months ago.
There were
There was a
two.
couple of
There
them.
was a few that happened in succession.
Okay.
There was a bit of concern there.
So the Pratt & Whitney powered 777-200s, they remain grounded over 6 months following that engine failure. Boeing haven't had much luck.
No, they
That
haven't.
came at the worst time. Actually
Yeah.
forgot about that. Should we get to our main story for the week?
Let's do it.
So I thought we could chat about travel and tourism because I'm fortunate enough to have to go to France at the end of the month. And going through this whole process myself, having traveled a lot, it's been quite complicated.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And if it's complicated for us in the industry, can you imagine how complicated it is for others there? So visas, PCR tests, rapid tests, when you do them, how you do them, who you do them with, converting your South African vaccination card to be able to be used in another country. There's a lot to think about. It's not so straightforward. And until this is sorted out, I mean, let's go through it here. Okay, let's start here. Okay, South Africans, you can now enter Dubai. That's great because there's been quite a while where we haven't been allowed in. Obviously, you need a vaccine approved by the WHO, and you do your PCR test there when you arrive. You're allowed in Dubai. That's great. Emirates, obviously, they've signed the interline with Seme the other day. They got the code share with Airlink, so maybe a bit of forward thinking, and they need to promote South Africa a little bit. But
Yeah.
not just us. They've opened up to India as well, and actually basically everyone except, from what I can see, Nigeria. They're still excluded. There's been some political backwards and forwards there. But yeah, they still seem excluded for at least till, I think it's September the 5th, something like that. Found that information on Airspace Africa, Derek and Seko, shout out there. But yeah, so right, that's Dubai. Now you can shift to Europe and the US and their travel woes. So the European Union countries voted to subject the US to fresh restrictions on non-essential travel amid the surge of new cases. So that's been a big blow to the tourism industry there. Straight after that announcement, 3% drop straight away in the stock market for the big airlines there in the States. 3% in short succession is a massive amount of money. This transatlantic restriction, the European carriers are, they're screaming about it too. Air France, IAG, and Lufthansa, of course, because it affects them heavy. They got put under big pressure last week with news of that vote. So the Airlines for Europe lobby group, they are, the quote there, the overwhelming majority of international travelers today are either fully vaccinated, tested, or recovered from the virus. That was their thing. We just can't get any sort of fluidity going with this thing. It's chaotic. Let's go to Australia now. So Australia has some very, very harsh restrictions, the harshest in the world, in fact. So you've got travel to Australia is currently only available if you are exempt or granted an individual exemption. Travel restrictions are subject to change in response to the circumstances surrounding COVID-19. All people travelling to Australia must provide proof of a negative COVID-19 PCR result at the time of check-in. Virgin Australia have come forward now. They say that all their employees must be vaccinated. They want this done by December. Now, if you read something like where it says that travel restrictions are subject to change in response to the circumstances, that doesn't encourage any form of travel.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I would be lying if I said I didn't have a bit of FOMO at the fact that you're going to, get to go gallivanting off to France at the end of the month, while I hold the fort down here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also thinking, shucks, I don't know if I'm ready yet to put myself through that stress of what happens if I go and all of a sudden either there or back here, they institute lockdown restrictions again, this, that, and next thing, and you can't get home. Man.
Or you test positive on that
yeah,
side.
man, and then you got to spend days in quarantine. That's 99% of the big problem that's happening, that's affecting travel and tourism. I can certainly speak and vouch for the domestic charter market and the challenges that they're facing with regards to that. I mean, as we know, with the charter industry, it's quite a complex environment. The planning and the work that goes behind arranging a charter flight is no small feat. And, one of the biggest problems that they're facing at the moment is these last-minute changes. For instance, people are coming to South Africa, right, and they go on a bit of a safari around here, but then they want to travel the rest of Southern Africa. One of the big problems is all these PCR tests that are required in between. The other one is, we still don't have all of our international border posts open. So where a flight was planned for and booked 2 years ago with a certain routing in mind, all of that's got to change, and it's going to add extra trek miles, flying time, and it just the charter operators are struggling to keep their heads above water as it is. Such a thin thread and margins to operate with. Now you've got these extra unplanned for things. Man, it's difficult.
Very difficult.
Really, really is difficult. And
an article came out yesterday. Some couple had toured to Zambia or Zim, I can't remember. They had to fly a doctor in on a charter to do the PCR test, then fly that PCR test somewhere so that they had the proof of, think the costs involved are just ludicrous.
No, the cost and logistics are mad.
Until there's some formality. I mean, even now I've got my card, my vaccination card, and it's useless everywhere else.
I don't understand that. It's all this whole thing. Get vaccinated, make the world safe. But now that card isn't accepted anywhere else. I mean, how?
Well, it's not accepted anywhere. I mean, we've still got to. Okay, you have to be vaccinated to fly overseas, but then when I arrive there,
it's got to have a conversion.
Well, not just that. You've still got to go through the rigmarole of the tests, the rapid antigens and all that stuff. Negative PCR test before you fly home.
So what have you solved?
Yeah, what have you solved? Actually, nothing. The only difference is there's a new requirement that you have to be vaccinated, and this is just ludicrous and almost like IATA were quite vocal about travel and tourism, and they've got their own podcast that I listen to. It's quite good, but I was hoping there would be a new podcast out. There hasn't been one out for a while because I don't think they know what the hell to say. I mean, it's like we're going backwards in certain respects, and this traveling is stressful enough as it is. Flight changes, all sorts of things. Now you throw this into the mix, and it really doesn't bode well.
No.
That's why I like, Comair bring out that advert. Safair do it a lot with their specials, and it's a good time to make the most of traveling South Africa. It really is. It's an absolute no-brainer for me that certainly not going to risk taking the family overseas.
No, not anytime soon.
But for business travel, you have to go. Business travel, there was a nice article in Bloomberg about traveling for work. They reckon the way we used to do it is done. It's finished. It's just not going back. The advancement of talking over Microsoft Teams and Zoom and stuff like that has taken over, and it's not going back. So we're going to rely on tourism, but they got to make it work for the tourists. And
yeah, they need to. I mean, there was a group that came through that Unique did a charter for the other day. These guys had a 2-week charter planned all around Southern Africa, and literally 2 days before they were leaving, I think it was the States, to come to South Africa, their 2 children tested positive.
Oh.
Or something like that was the story. So anyway, they still came out, but then they had to find 2 other people to come and join them so that they didn't waste all this money.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, can you just imagine?
No, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Man, and so I just wish it would normalize so that we could get that travel and tourism industry back on its feet. And
everyone's really itching to travel, but just too scared.
We need it, man.
We need it. Do you want my advisory?
Let's have it.
Okay. We had a cool live show on Tuesday night with Byron Edgington.
Yeah.
An ex-military pilot, ex-commercial pilot as well. And he's just written a book. And I think you mentioned the other night you like his style of writing.
I do. I find it easy to read. It's lots of humor, which is right up my alley. It was lighthearted but serious at the same time. And yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed his books. And then chatting to Byron as well. He's such an easy guy to chat to. And
it's like a real cockpit conversation.
Yes. It's
Flight
like
deck, sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Hang a talk.
Now, one of the things that we have encouraged, and I still think it's an important thing these days, particularly if you're out looking for work, is to show your worth on social media, particularly the professional sites like LinkedIn. It's if you want to showcase what you can do and your area of expertise, then posting things on a platform like that is going to be useful. People are going to see it. It certainly beats the old Ryan, do you mind handing my CV over to someone and you put the CV in the bottom of your bag and that's done forever.
Or it goes straight to file 13.
Exactly. So you basically, if you want an online presence, professional presence, then you need to post things. And posting things it can be a bit stressful. You can feel like a little bit of a dickhead sometimes when you're posting something telling people how wonderful you are.
Yeah.
When it's not the intention, you're trying to actually showcase your skills and your ability. And I think that's something that puts a lot of people off. One of the reasons why we like, or certainly I like the video side of things, is that we can make a podcast like this, 45 minutes or 50 minutes long. And if you want, you could break that podcast up into 50 pieces of smaller videos and post those. That's one of the big advantages of a podcast, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get into the podcasting game. But if you like writing and you write articles, going back to Mike Mason again, Mike writes really well. When I chatted to him the other day, I said, Mike, you need to write a bit more, because he really, he's got a nice style of writing.
He does.
And there is such thing as having a nice style of writing where people look at it and they continue to read it.
Yeah.
And we don't all have that.
No.
All right. Some writing doesn't come naturally to everyone. So there's an app, a web-based app. It's available on iOS as well, or Google Store, or you can use it on your desktop. It's called Grammarly. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've never looked at it, but that's cool.
Yeah,
What
it's
does it
very
do?
cool. What it does, you basically have you got your normal keyboard. Now you've got a Grammarly keyboard as well. And what Grammarly does, it'll tell you, listen, this what you're writing here is not insightful enough. It's not asking the right question. The comma's in the wrong place. The full stop's there. The apostrophe should be there.
That's cool.
So it's more than just sorting out your spelling. It actually helps you with your style of writing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, quite neat, actually. I've been trying it for the last month, and so even if you want to write an email, it basically works across the board. So if you open up Facebook and you're writing on Facebook, it'll come up there. LinkedIn the same, but you can open up the web-based version, which has got a sort of a document editor there, and you can write your email in the document editor there if you want, or straight in the email itself. It doesn't matter, and it will give you suggestions and basically say, hey, that's a good piece of writing.
Awesome, man.
And it's got a lot of AI built in, so it starts to learn your style. Whether one of the big things is obviously to create engagement on your posts. You don't want to post something where no one actually sees it. You want to create a bit of engagement, and one way to do that is to ask questions. What do you think about this? And you tend to get a few more people commenting on your posts, which is the ultimate goal, I suppose. The attention. Attention is a commodity, the most sought after commodity in the world at the moment.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's how YouTubers are doing well, as they're managing. The big buzzword there is retention. You want to keep people on your videos. You've got to keep the retention going. So it's the same with the writing. I like it. I'm going to try that app because I've written a few articles, but I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm always concerned about
no one does, right?
Coming across sounding like a bit of a numpty.
Unless you're a writer, unless you're a professional, no one actually does. So there are things there these days that help you. And I think it's great because you get people that they want to write, they want to post, but they may be a bit nervous to do it. So using something like that goes a long way. So try that out. That's Grammarly. I'll leave the link to the app in the show notes. Try it out, Ron. Let me know.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to give it a bash. I like that idea.
So 70 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an anniversary.
Well done,
pal. We had a few chats on what we should chat about today. And because there's not always a huge amount of news, although always find leading up to when we do the show, a lot more news becomes available. But it's really cool to be pushing out a high number of episodes now, and it certainly makes you feel like you're here to stay. It wasn't always the case. You start something and you hope you can get there, but you don't quite see the end. So been a bit of a journey this podcast. And number 70 is a nice number.
It is a nice number. I love the fact that we're inching ever closer to the magic 100. And then look, there's no stopping now.
No ways.
I love the momentum. I love the energy, and we've certainly gained a lot out of this podcasting journey. Across the board, from personal development. Just confidence, everything. It's cool, man.
It's helped in lots of ways, I suppose, for both of us.
And, just the networking as well. The guys that we've, got to meet and connect with over the last year and a half. Chatting to like Byron Edgington now from the US, like he's an old mate.
You wouldn't have met him.
No, Jason Northwood, everyone that keeps in touch with us and connects with us. This is awesome.
And what's great about it is you can assist your existing network. So Al Macaulay said that he's now chatting to Byron, and there's a nice sort of, I love that. Communities are a really valuable thing and going to become even more valuable. And I like to think that the community that we have around our podcast is really, really strong, and something I'm really proud of, because what a great, I'd rather have the existing, 500 to 1,000 people that are listening to us or watching us than, 10,000 that don't care about us. We always get such lovely messages from people that every Saturday morning, wake up is a message from Duncan, is a message from Al, Oki, all these guys.
Awesome, man.
And it's such a nice, it's a really great thing, and it's almost like this podcast is a little bit like a child to us. I think, you want to nurture it and care for it, and you
keep it growing.
keep it growing. And it hurt me a bit this week with, our live show, because, we're going to take a break from the live for a bit and open it up in another series. But, the reason we're doing that is, we've spoken about the fact that, pilots are a little bit hesitant to talk, particularly on social media. That's the one thing. But, you're so reliant on so many factors for that live show. You've got to have a decent internet connection you're not in control of.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it hasn't been an issue of late, but, Eskom with their load shedding and all sorts of things. And there's quite a lot of stress around those live events.
Yeah.
You're a little bit more under control in the studio, but that doesn't mean we're not going to go back to it. It just means
like we said, we're going to re-strategize and just make it a little bit better the next season, which is cool because we want to keep progressing.
Yeah.
But something you said earlier just made me realize, when we used to belong to an airline, there was this proud, presence of being associated and belonging to what used to be a very well-revered airline. This is kind of the same thing. The community and the sense of belonging that it's creating is very cool. And we all need that, especially in these times where support and motivation
But that's why that Saks video affected the guys so much, because it was an attack on that community.
Yeah, what used to be.
Yeah.
It just reminded you that you don't belong to that anymore.
Exactly.
And that's what stung.
That's exactly it. It's a reminder that you don't belong, we don't care about you. And
but anyway, SA Express is not there anymore, but Brian Air Podcast is here to stay.
Oh, yeah. No, that's for sure. And can't do it without the people listening. So thanks so much. As per usual, please check out Go Aviate. If you're a pilot, you have to sign up for that. If talking about communities, that's a proper community.
Absolutely. Aviation 4SA.
Of course, Craig, sign up for the newsletter. Best aviation newsletter.
Definitely.
It really is. And if you're looking at purchasing new pilot uniform, Roxanne, Scott Williams, again, details in the show notes. Check out her company there. And anyone else that wants a bit of support or a bit of exposure to something, please don't hesitate to contact us. And if you want to contact us to have a chat about something else totally different, I don't mind at all. This week, I posted a video about Mango and them getting paid. And I can't believe in my DMs how many people were asking me, does that mean is Mango going to start operating again? Because they had purchased tickets on Mango. So now straight away there's like this association with us and Mango. And I quite like it, this whole thing, because it's nice to sort of play a central part in the community. And we're trying to support Comair, Safair, Airlink, and certainly the Mango guys as much as we can.
Yeah.
Semi too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Have a good week, Paul.
You too, man.
We're gonna celebrate on Saturday, actually.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna get hammered,
and I'm gonna get to meet Princess Capri for the first time. So very stoked about
keeping it to myself, but yeah,
cool.
Look forward to that. Have a lovely weekend, everyone, and see you next week. Goodbye for now.
Ciao, ciao.